Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Hill Pursuit Podcast. I have a good one for you today. This is another speaker series episode. I believe this is the third speaker series episode that we've done recently. It has been a little bit. The holidays have been a little crazy. Kids have been sick, so please forgive me, but I do have a nice schedule lined up for potential guests to come onto the show, along with some of my own content. Things I'll be putting out, so stay tuned for that. I know it's been a little bit, but just stick with me, and I appreciate you following along. This is a really, really great episode. This is with Tyler Thomas. Tyler Thomas was an athlete of mine, is an athlete of mine. We started working together very early in 2025, and Tyler had an incredible season in endurance sport. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to find a time to sit down with Tyler. Tyler's a father, so moms, dads, any parents who are dealing with struggling to find time to train or exercise or work towards your goals, this is a great conversation to listen to. Not just that, but Tyler did it at a very, very high level. He was a silver all-world athlete this season. We'll dive into that a little bit. He trained very, very hard. He executed some very challenging races, PR'd across the board in everything he raced in. I say that with an asterisk because we didn't quite finish the entirety of the 2025 slate, and we'll get into that as well. Again, a conversation that you definitely want to lean into, but Tyler battled in 2025. He battled in races on race day, he battled in training, and he also battled with his family. He had some familial issues that came up, whether it was him, his kids, other relatives, maybe some sicknesses. Tyler he went through a lot, and the year was absolutely a victory for Tyler Thomas. I'm thrilled that this one happened. I'm excited for you as well, because I think the whole point of the speaker series that we started recently is to just kind of get a nugget here or there from someone else who's in this space, right? I know you guys follow along. I appreciate that you do, but I know what I know. I experience what I experience. You got to hear from other people sometimes, and I think a great way to facilitate that is through conversation. And that's all this is. It's just a healthy, casual conversation with other athletes, potentially, and I have some of this set up. Other coaches, other professionals in the field. It's going to be a nice speaker series that will continue strongly into and throughout 2026 as well. So, again, this is a great one, but please also stay tuned because more are coming, I promise. In the meantime, if you've been following along, appreciate it very much. Like, subscribe to all the things. Okay, Hill Pursuit's on social media everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, X. We have a LinkedIn now that we're trying to use and expand. And I also have some really fun and cool, maybe opportunities, incentives, whatever you want to call them, right around the corner, literally right around the corner, because 2026 is almost here. So in the very next episode, if you're still with me in this intro, in the very next episode, not this one, but the next episode, I'll give a little recap of 2025 for myself and for Hill Pursuit. We'll talk through it a little bit, but then I'll also kind of discuss some possibilities for you as a listener and potential Hill Pursuit athlete or collaborative efforts that might happen in the future. So just continue following along, and I appreciate that you do. If you want to reach out to me directly, hillpursuit@gmail.com. If you know me, just call or text me. Most of you do anyways. But you can also check out the website, hillpursuit.com. We got any and everything listed there, coaching information, all the things. So I appreciate that you're here. I appreciate that you've been following along. This is a great episode. Please tune in for the entirety of this episode in addition to the next handful, because we have a great lineup as we start 2026. Thanks for being here. Enjoy this speaker series episode with Tyler Thomas.
going on? How are you?
Dude, I'm good. How are you? I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there, man. Just staying
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. You coming out of the sky recently, huh?
Yeah. I just got off of a 4-day trip, so I'm
Yeah.
off through the 5th of January. So,
Yeah, nice, dude. Yeah, same. My kids have well, this is the first time even have kids in school. So I have my daughter in kindergarten, and I don't know why, but she has a half day tomorrow, and then same
oh,
deal.
geez.
Yeah, same deal. She's off till the fifth though too. But I mean, it's a good break. It's a good break. I'm sure that'll be nice for you.
Yeah. We're heading over to Chattanooga Christmas Day, and then out to
Nice.
Scottsdale on the Sunday after Christmas.
That's awesome. How are things with the family? Things okay?
Yeah, we're all doing good. Just
Good.
we actually down the road they just hit a water main, so we don't have any water tonight. So that's kind of a bummer.
Jeez. Yeah, we're great. Just no water.
Yeah,
Gosh.
yeah. It's always something.
Yeah, I feel like it. Well, dude, let's selfishly I love doing this kind of thing cuz it just gets me like in front of in front of athletes again,
Yeah.
for a healthy conversation. So, I just kind of I have a couple like default questions, but wherever it
Right.
goes, man. And I mean,
Cool.
you had a great season. I'd love to just kind of we don't have to dive directly into everything that you accomplished, I guess, but I'm sure it'll come out. But
Yeah.
um, typically, it's just like I have a couple questions. Wherever it goes. No big deal. But yeah, so let's just dive in. Like, why don't you just for the people who listen, which is not like a crazy amount, but definitely a hefty amount of Victory Multisport and Hill Pursuit athletes are definitely following along, and I think people listen because they want to catch like a little nugget here or there that might help them. So I
Right.
think,
Yeah. Any little bit of information
and
is
yeah,
helpful.
and I think what we've gone through together this year could probably help a lot of people. So let's just kind of dive in, man. Tell us who you are. Like, who's Tyler Thomas? What do you do? What do you do for work? Kind of alluded to that, but and then what do you compete in?
Yeah. So my name's Tyler Thomas. Got into the triathlon world, I'd say about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Before that, I was in the Marine Corps. Got out of the Marine Corps, told myself I would never ever run a day again in my life. Got
I
into
guess.
lifting heavy weights and doing amateur bodybuilding and 5Ks here and there, but never really thought that I would ever get into the triathlon endurance industry as a sport, as a hobby, and now as a pretty big passion. But picked up the bug near COVID. Went out and cycled with a buddy in Charlotte and just kind of got hooked on the cycling thing and went out and did a sprint triathlon. And then about a year later, conquered Chattanooga full. And it's been, I've had the bug ever since. And it's just, it's an awesome sport.
That's pretty wild. Okay, we got to dive into that a little bit. So you did a sprint. First of all, that's roughly like the same time frame that I've been around
Okay.
the sport too, and I'm sure we'll get into like how we met, which is really cool. But you did a sprint first, which is I guess a natural intro into the sport, right?
Yeah,
A,
just getting the feet
a
wet.
year later, you did a full.
Yeah, so that was a pretty aggressive move on my part, but I mean, I know a lot of people during COVID, it was kind of a bad time, but for me, I had a lot of time off of work as being an airline pilot. We were kind of at home a lot, so that gave me the opportunity to get out on the road and cycle a lot. So I had the time. And whenever I talk to a lot of people, they ask, what's the big difference between an Olympic, a half, or a full Ironman? And I always tell them it's just about the time that you can put into the training in a week. And for me, at that time in my life, I didn't have any kids, and it was just I could put in the time in the training and conquer that chatty full.
I mean, dude, you did it again too, though, and you have kids now.
Right? Yeah, the kids. That's a different distraction whenever it comes to a sport like this. Just putting all the time and hours in, and obviously, I mean, you and I were both on the same page.
Yep.
Families always the number one priority, and it takes over a lot of my life. Early mornings and late nights, but I mean, it's just what you have to do if
Yeah.
you want to be in the sport with the family.
Yeah, I feel like you, and not even just you. I have a handful of athletes who have kids, guys and girls who are, husbands and wives, and also, mothers and fathers. So I feel like you do a really, really good job of making everything balanced. Can you speak to that a little bit? Like, where's the sacrifice? Because you completed the full distance without kids. And I think that was a great little, a great point you just made. It's like the
Right.
biggest difference is like, what kind of time do you have in the week, right? We all have 24 hours in a day, but those minutes, those hours are different when you have kids. And
Right. Right.
so, like, what's the biggest sacrifice? So, like, what did you have to change to kind of still train enough to meet your goals and still improve? Like, you had a great season.
Right. Yeah. So I'd say the biggest sacrifice is going to be your sleep. Sleep is you're gonna cut into your sleep if you're gonna do this sport. But then on the backside of that, sleep and recovery is huge. As a working triathlete, as a age grouper, we all don't have 20 hours out of the day just to go grind it out in the pool and get these 4 and 5 hour bike rides in. So you cut into your sleep, but then cutting into your sleep is also cutting into your recovery, which is, I think, a big thing that's overlooked when training for a race like this. So you kind of have to, it's a fine line of cutting into your sleep to get the hours and the miles met per week, but you need that sleep to kind of recover and let the body rest. So
Yep.
it's tough.
Do do you think you're good at it?
I think I am, and I think a lot of it goes with the industry that I'm in, being an airline pilot. I mean, obviously, rest is always key for us. So it's like you have to be rested, you have to be ready to go. But then on the backside of that, being in the military, working weird hours, and if you have a goal and your mind is strong enough to meet that goal, you're going to sacrifice a little bit of sleep to get the job done. And on the flip side of that, I like to get everything done in the morning before my kids wake up. It's just something I've always done. If they wake up, they know dad's in the basement getting a workout in.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. What time do they wake up? Just for fun.
Usually seven
Yeah.
o'clock. So 3:30, 4 o'clock. If I'm not on the bike or on the treadmill, I'm already running. I'm running behind for the day at that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, this time of year, I'm not like, I don't make myself get up crazy, crazy early, but my kids are up
Right.
at 7 also. So
Yep.
even now, it's like, even if I just want to get an hour or maybe a quick, maybe a harder 90 or something, yeah, I'm the same way. It's got to be done by 7 for me too. So, but yeah, I mean, the morning comes so fast for these kids, and there's so much to do with them. There's so much to do with these
It's
kids in the morning time. So anyway, I understand that is my point, but
Yeah, and throughout the summer, I mean, when the girls were younger, I've got a 5 month old now, so hopefully within the springtime, and we've got one of the running strollers, and I'll take them out and run with them. And my wife's an avid runner too, so if we can kind of like have our kids look up to us being athletic and getting in the gym, and they see it and they're around it growing up, then they're going to kind of mold themselves into it. So it's kind of like it's a parenthood thing, but it's also just a her and I type thing to get a workout in every day.
yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's really good. All right, before I dive into like the rest of these questions, let's just talk about the season, man. Like, tell us about what was on your calendar and like expectations you may have had versus how things went for you.
Yeah, so you and I, we had a talk, I think, back in probably near March time frame. Coming off the season last year, I finished Haines City pretty well, and I kind of missed that world championship slot by about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's with the old program with the roll downs and all that. So we'll
Yeah,
kind of take that into a factor. And I'm just a competitive person in nature, so I just kind of wanted to take a step in the right direction and see what I could do, see what the body could do. So that's where I gave you a call in March, and we kind of sat down and talked about just my anticipations for the year, just trying to make it top 20, top 25. We didn't really set any time goals at the beginning, and then as we kind of set up the race schedule for the year, I had some training and some family events and just life happened. So I had life towards the beginning of the season. So the back half of the season was real heavy for me. So we threw the Olympic distance on there, the 70.3 over in Michigan. finishing it up with the Ironman California, and then I had the slot to go do New York City, which I'm sure we'll get into all that.
Yeah.
But kind of a real big last half of the season. So we were taking a pretty big bite out of the bone, and we were going to see what we could do with it.
Yeah. So your biggest goals before we started anything, top 20, top 25 at some of this stuff. How did it go? How did it go for you? You can start at the Ole if you want, or we can go right into Michigan, wherever you want to start.
Yeah, the Olympic distance, I think we did well. That was just kind of a get out there, and I mean, first race of the year, just make sure we reminded ourselves of, hey, this is what we do during a race, because we can train all day long and do so many rides and runs, but putting the whole package together it's a different animal. So that was kind of just like a setting the tone race for us, and it was pretty well. We didn't go full throttle on it because we knew what was left in the rest of the season, but that was a good race. And I mean, it's the Moraine race.
Yeah.
It's a backyard race. It's a fun race. I enjoy seeing everybody out there, all the victory crew and the family. Everybody's there. So that was just a really good time. And then that kind of led us up into the 70.3 over in Michigan. And I mean, going into the race, I think you and we both felt really good about where the race or the endurance was. The bike, the run, all of that was looking pretty good. But kind of the same thing that's going to be said throughout this whole podcast here is just adversity. I mean, adversity throughout the season for me it was pretty big. So my, at the time, 2-month-old daughter got admitted to the children's hospital. It was about 5 days before the race. So like we said earlier, family is always priority. So that was what was on my mind. But don't get me wrong, that race was still on the back of my mind, and every day she was in the hospital getting closer and closer to the race. I mean, it was making me more and more nervous because we put at least 6 or 7 months into this training program, and to see all that go away would be horrible. But at the end of the day, I'm a dad first, and that's what I was doing. I was there for my wife and my daughters. So she recovered well from her sickness, and we had a talk with our family, and I said, hey, I'm going to still do the race. I think I called you pretty shortly after that, and I said, hey, we're just going to go give it a shot. It was taper week anyway, so we were taking it nice and light. And then we rolled into Michigan, and it was a good race.
Why'd you pick Michigan?
So originally I'm from Detroit, just south of Detroit, Michigan. I've heard it's a fun race. This year I did flat fast courses. In years past, I've done Wisconsin, I've done Penn State, I've done out in California, Oceanside. So more of the hilly courses. I haven't really done a true flat fast course. And with our goals for the year, I think that was kind of setting up for me being a heavy cyclist, just grinding out those flat courses was kind of something that was on my mind. And it's a beautiful course. It really is. It's ranked really high in the 70.3 North American series, and just wanted to give it a good shot. And I had a lot of my family support up there as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you have people who are still in Detroit who came out to see it?
Yeah. I had a few buddies that live over there in Grand Rapids that came out and saw me. My family came out, and I have a few friends that I've kind of mentored and coached that I got to see race up there as well. So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, you want to just continue with the season and head towards Cali, or you want anything else on Michigan? You want to talk about race performance, or you want to circle back to just kind of how that all went later?
Yeah, we can talk about the 70.3 a little bit. The swim was
let's do it.
Swim was a lake swim. It was pretty good. I mean, something again that you never really think about. I was coming down the boat ramp, rolled my ankle, running into the water. So that was kind of like in the back of my mind throughout the whole swim. So the kick kind of slowed down. But again, it was just a nice, cool, calm morning up there in the bay and the lake there, and had a pretty good swim. Came out, got on the bike, and kind of our goal throughout the whole year was not to over bike. And you and I talk about it all the time. There's the bike monsters out there. I mean, you can sit here in training and throw down 300 watts and you'll feel fine, but you're not going to run a half marathon or a marathon on the backside. And with that flat course, that was something that was in my mind. So I just kind of laid back a little bit on the bike course. I think I finished with it just under 220 on the
Yeah.
bike. So we were looking really good. And then got out on the run. And for September in Michigan, I didn't anticipate the heat to be as hot as it was. I ended up running just under a 145 on the run. But it was just a fun course. A lot of support out there. And it was a good day.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about that race. Even, last season, season before that, lots of people love that race. So,
Yeah, it's a fun race, and obviously, so I broke 5 hours on
yeah,
that, so that's a pretty big milestone to cross in
absolutely.
the half world. So that was a good day there.
You still had a little, I mean, I would say you probably still had a little bit more to, if there's, well, what would you say? Would you say there's a little bit to shave there still?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a little bit to shave on the run.
Yeah.
I think towards mile 8, 10, 12, that ankle that I rolled earlier in the day started
Right.
flaring up on me, and
Right.
but I mean, that's what's crazy about this sport. It's you're never going to have an absolute perfect day. It's
Yeah,
not going to
exactly.
go the way you wrote it up on the chalkboard 6 months ago. It's all about adversity, and I think the thing that's really underplayed and underthought about in triathlon is the mental aspect of it. I mean, everybody talks about bike, run, swim, nutrition, transition, but the mental aspect of it plays a huge role.
Almost like an afterthought to most people. I think you're right, though.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the mental game. Like there's a lot of people that say, like I've heard, nutrition is the fourth discipline, or like transitions are the fourth discipline. What about the mental game, right? The
right.
mental game, because nothing is perfect. Like I'm not sure I've ever spoken to anybody who's had a perfect race. Most
No,
often, it's like, yeah, I had a lot of fun. Could have been better here, or something like this. Like I couldn't even believe that you rolled your ankle. When you told me, I couldn't even believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me! At the start of the day. Oh
right
my
off the
gosh!
gun. Yep,
Like just stuff happens though. So
yep.
yeah, I think that's a great point. Is the mental aspect, the mental game, huge component of this sport because something like that small, and you got another 5 hours or another 4.5 hours, and you're like, can I pull this together? Can
Yeah,
I
it's
can I
it's a
hit?
long day.
Yeah, can I hit my goal? So yeah, big props to you there. That was a great race. Go ahead, continue. What was next?
Yeah, so next on the books, I guess it was about 2.5, and that's kind of the thing that we were talking about earlier with this race schedule that I had on the
Yeah,
back half of the year. Everything was like 2 to 3 weeks apart. So we got off of the 70.3 and kind of took the first week or so just to recover
right.
more or less an active recovery. We were still moving, but just kind of recovering from that 70.3 and building up till October 19th or the California full. And I think we kind of ramped it up there at the end pretty good. And I felt good going into that. The body felt good. All the numbers were looking good. But again, I mean, here comes the adversity. My other daughter, the 2-year-old, about 4 or 5 days out, I get a call from the school. She's got a stomach bug. So I go pick her
Yeah,
up, and she's having stomach issues all week. And as triathletes in that taper week, we're all worried about getting sick and hurting and all of that. So that's in the back of my head. I don't want to get sick. And now I'm, again, being a father and taking care of my daughter. And usually I go out to the race 3 or 4 days in advance, kind of get out there, get the bike put together,
yep,
get set up and everything. And so having to stay at home with my daughter a few extra days, I think I ended up flying out on Friday evening, which for me, it's like, you're a type A person. You want to be out there. You want to get everything set up.
yeah,
But again,
yeah,
it doesn't go perfect, and you just got to kind of roll with the
yeah.
punches. So I got out there Friday night, went out there. This is I've done a few solo races, but I've never done a full Ironman by myself without my wife or my kids or my mother next to me. So like it's a different feeling. Like you say, like you appreciate the support, but they do play a big role in getting you ready and getting you prepared. And it's not just the rah rah hoorah on the side of the road getting you amped up at mile 20 of a 26-mile run at the end of the Ironman. It's everything else that leads up to it with that support. So going out there by myself, getting the bike set up by myself, getting food, all of that, everything just went real fast.
Yeah,
And
wow.
then checked in the bike, everything went well out there, and rolled into rolled into race morning feeling really, really good about everything. The dust settled, and kind of like I text all the guys that I work with too. It's payday. You put all these hours and just long days and long nights of work in, and it's the payday. It's, hey, let's see what we can do and throw down. And I think you and we just had an expectation just to go out there and throw it down. But in the back of my mind, I had New York City Marathon a couple weeks after it.
No.
So we didn't want anything crazy to happen. But we went out and had a really good swim. That's an awesome, again, it's a flat course, that downriver swim. It is fast and it's cold, but came out under an hour on that, which is a PR for me.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
great.
Jumped on the bike, and we talked about the power that we'd be holding. And I got about 20 minutes into the ride, and I was looking down at the bike computer, looking around, checking my watch, and the power and what I was putting out, my perceived effort just wasn't lining up. So then I finally figured out I didn't resync my power pedals to my bike computer. So in transport, they kind of got a little out of whack. So I was kind of running I didn't shut the bike computer off. I was pretty close to just shutting it down, but I was just riding off a feel.
Yeah.
And again, going back to our strategy for the half, really good at cycling, but we don't want to overcycle. We've got a marathon on the backside of this. So we're trucking along there. We're running pretty good. I think the halfway point, I was at 2.5 hours. And then I started just feeling a little sick to the stomach, with some GI issues, and hindsight 2020. I think I texted you this a couple of weeks ago, but I found out that I was taking Morton 160s instead of Morton 100s. I do a lot of on-course nutrition along with on-bike nutrition, and I've practiced and trained with the 100s, but I guess they were handing out at a few of the aid stations the 160s. And it's crazy to think just 60 more calories, a few more carbs here and there. It does play a big factor into a 10, 11, 12-hour Ironman race.
Absolutely.
And so that I toned it back a little bit on that last out and back, just to kind of get some fluids in and flush the carbs out and try to figure out what was going on with my stomach, because at the time I didn't know what was going on with it. And then on the way back, we had a pretty good tailwind. I got caught up in a group, and ref came up, gave me a card, said, "Hey, you got a penalty for drafting." And I'm like, okay, here we go. This is, again, the adversity. So looking every aid station, I'm looking for the penalty tent, slowing down, coming on in, and then lo and behold, it's at like mile 110 or 111 of the 112-mile bike course. So you come on in, you're ready to just get out there and run, but now you're going to come in and sit and take a penalty, and just kind of the whole momentum and the mindset shifts. So then that happened, got out, finished the penalty, got into the run, and was feeling pretty good. The heat kind of got to us there on that, and the stomach pain went away for a little bit there, and then about mile 4 to 5, it started coming back. So I started having the GI issues, and then it turned into a battle from there, and it was just trying to take as much nutrition in as I could without my body rejecting it. And that was kind of the battle of the day. And then about the halfway point, my left knee and left hip started hurting, and it was just kind of all rolling downhill from there. But we were still battling, and that's where that whole mental aspect comes into it, because it's real easy just to sit there and say, okay, I'm done for the day, I'm going to walk. But in the back of your head, you've got so many people watching you, cheering you on, that want to see you succeed. You want to succeed. And it's a race. I mean, you're racing other athletes, but at the end of the day, it's you against yourself. It's a mental battle all day long, just grinding it out. And then kind of really pushed through that back half of the marathon and came across the finish line. The knee buckled, and the next thing I knew, I woke up and I was in the medical tent. So that's how that evening ended. And I think at the end of the race there, what did we finish at?
10 and change.
Yeah, 10 and change. So it was a really good day, but again, looking back on it, you're just like, I could have done better. And I think that's honestly why
that's crazy.
This sport is so addicting, because you look back on it and you say, I can do this, and change things and tweak things, and that's what gets people to sign up and do more races, I think.
Yeah. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but wasn't this overall time a very good finish for you?
This was, yep. This is the best race I've had.
What's
Given
crazy to me,
given the circumstances, it was
I mean,
unbelievable.
what's crazy to me is a PR, a swim PR, bike computer goes, GI issues halfway through the bike, drafting penalty, run issues 4 or 5 miles in, left knee and hip, medical tent. I mean, the adversity in that, like adversity, right? The adversity in that race, and you PR'd the race.
PR'd it, yep.
Unreal, unreal.
Yeah,
It's
it was.
crazy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, and it's just it's what keeps you going,
I
honestly.
mean, that's the mental game right there. I mean, I don't know if anyone's listening and needs like a better explanation of the importance of the mental game. I'm saying medical because of the medical tent. The mental game. I mean, holy cow! Like, dude, to get through all that and still push hard enough that you had just like a very high caliber performance. It's just huge kudos to you, man. Seriously.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the end of your season.
Yeah. So after that, woke up 7 a.m. the next morning, got on a flight, and flew home. And obviously, after a race like that, you've got the aches, the pains, and
Yeah.
again, we're rolling straight into New York City. We're on the clock for New York City, and you and I had a conversation. Hey, let's do the active recovery. So I tried to get a few miles in here and there, and I think I made a phone call to you and said, "Hey, it's not going to be an active recovery. This is full blown recovery.
Yeah.
We're going into, I mean, stretch therapy. I saw PT. I saw cryo. I went and got a sports massage. The body was hurting pretty good, especially on the back side of the knee. And finally, I went to another PT, and they said there was a tear from the hamstring up behind where the knee meets. And we kind of we heat and hawed about it, and we thought about it. And I mean, I would go out and run 3 miles in pretty much pain the whole time. And I was texting you saying, "Hey, I think we can do it. I can fight through it. I can fight through it." So that was in the back of our mind. But then I'm thinking it's New York City. It's a race that I want to be able to be competitive in. I don't know when the next time I'm going to do it is. And then I got a phone call from my mother. So that was on Halloween. So 2 days before the race, I already had my bags packed. I had all the numbing creams ready to go, and we were going to go and just give it a shot. If it was going to be a David Goggins style run, it was going to happen. We were going to just give it a shot. But yeah, my mother called me and told me that our grandmother wasn't going to make it through the weekend, and that was kind of just like the end all be all for that race. I think I called you shortly after that, and we called it quits. So we pulled out of that one and got a deferral for next year. So makes it pretty simple for me to plan my my race schedule next year. We're going to finish next year with the New York City Marathon, and we'll finish strong on that one. And honestly, I mean, it hurt to pull out of it, but again, going back to just being there for my family. That's really family. Your family's always going to be here, and you have to always be there for your family. And same thing with the races, but the family's the priority at the end of the day. And there's always going to be more races. You're always going to have another opportunity. And I mean, I'm very, very thankful that I did not do the race because I got to fly up to Chattanooga. I got to spend a little bit of time with my grandmother before she passed. So I'll never get that time with her ever again. And I'm thankful for every second of it.
Yeah, dude, that was. I mean, your entire season was like a perfect depiction of family first, still getting it in, grinding through difficulties in races, in training, your own sickness or niggles, pains, injuries, your kid's sickness, a grandmother's sickness. Holy moly, man! Like. It was just like it truly was just a crazy season. I want to know what's next. Like, what does next season look like? You alluded a little bit to, and you texted me recently too. But I'll let you
absolutely.
Explain that. But you alluded to the end of the year being New York City. What else is on your radar as as we kind of sit down and look at 2026?
Yeah, so 2026. I think I've always had the endurance, the long endurance races. I mean, I know an Ironman's it's an endurance race and it's long, but we put the bid in for the Leadville 100 up there in Colorado. So we'll see what happens with that. If we'll find out here within the next week if we get
Nice.
that or not. So I think if I get the lottery entry for that, that's going to be the meat and the bones for the race
Nice.
season for 2026. But I mean, I can't let the bike just sit here and collect dust. So we're going to have a little bit of racing
I
going
know.
on. But I think the Leadville race is going to be big to me. We got New York City sitting down with my wife here within the next week. Pittsburgh half marathon. Potentially Chicago Marathon, doing that with the Alzheimer's Association up there
Nice.
for my grandmother up there. And I think if I do the Leadville, I've got my charity, so the charity is going to come back out, and we're going to raise some good money going
Nice.
into that. So
Nice.
2026, I think it's going to be a good year. Right now, just trying to maintain what I have. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people do is they finish the year December. It's usually, I would say, Thanksgiving time. Everybody kind of wraps up their race seasons, and then they kind of go stagnant, and all that momentum and endurance that you've built throughout the year just starts to shed away
Yeah.
throughout the winter. So for me, just kind of staying at that peak right now, just trying to keep the miles in, getting back in the gym, getting some muscle back on myself. Being able to have a cookie and a beer here and there is
Yeah.
pretty good in the winter time, but don't want to lose the fitness that we have, and I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
going to be key throughout the winter. But we'll see here in about 2 weeks whenever that
Nice.
Leadville lottery comes out.
Dude, with Leadville, can't you get an entry if you are I don't know exactly what they call it, like a quote charity runner or something, like outside of the lottery? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, so there's a few different ways you can get into it. So last year I applied, and I was talking to a few of the directors up there. So you can either come up and pay for their program. It's like a training
Ah,
program. So in the
okay.
summertime before the race, you come up and do it, and I think it's almost an automatic bid. There's something with Lifetime that you can get a bid in. You can run with their charities, similar to like the New
Okay.
York City or the
Yeah.
Chicago, because I emailed them last year about my charity, and it has to be one of their designated charities. But I think last year, whenever I emailed them, I kind of let them know who I was, what I was about, and hopefully, I know it's all out of a hat, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
never know.
Right. Yeah. Well, good luck, man. That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Give us one last nugget before we get out of here. Can you give me something that is either like your biggest lesson learned this season or recently, or maybe like, I guess, just compounding off of that? It doesn't sound like you did make any mistakes, but if you made a mistake recently, maybe something you learned that maybe someone else might just avoid the downtime that comes after making a mistake or something like that. Like, I had a conversation with Derek recently, actually, and he was telling me that, you chatted him up about some nutrition and saved him like months of making mistakes just from like a 10 to 15 minute conversation about nutrition. I don't know if he told you that, but he was like, dude, I owe so many months of wasted time and energy to Tyler for helping me out with some nutrition. I was like, dude, that's great. Like, do you have anything else like that? Or like I said, like maybe it's not a mistake you've made, but maybe someone else helped them avoid something, save some time. You got
Yeah,
anything?
I'm trying to go back to that conversation with Derek and I. I mean, I talked to a lot of guys
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
lot of different things, but I mean, yeah, nutrition is big on the bike, and I'm not sure if he's talking about race day nutrition or just average.
oh
I
yeah, yeah,
mean,
yeah.
just
I think it
fueling.
was race day. I think it was more
Okay,
race day. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, race day. I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of calories and carbs that you have to intake throughout a race, whether it be an Olympic distance or a full distance, and it's just trying to find that happy median of how much you can intake before your body won't take anymore. And also, they say practice like you play. So whenever you're doing
yeah,
your
yeah.
brick workouts, don't don't cheap out on it and say, well, I'm only going to take a few scoops and then I'm going to go do it. Just do everything the way you're going to do it on race day. That way, when it comes to race day, it feels the way it's been the last several months. But I think, yeah, nutrition's overlooked a lot. And then for me, being a bigger guy, flexibility. I think over this next 3 or 4 months on the off season, I'm just really trying to focus on flexibility because everything injury wise, it always comes back to your flexibility. And everybody's always worried about, I got to get the miles and I've got to get the miles and I got to put 4 hours, 5 hours on the bike today.
Yeah, yeah.
And they jump off the bike, they go jump in the shower and they call it a day. But if you put 10 minutes into stretching pre and post workout, it goes a long way and it prevents injuries. As much as we don't like to do it, it's something that I think a lot of people overlook, and it would just help a lot of people out. Is just getting in there and getting flexible because it'll prevent a lot of injuries.
I think you're right. I think a lot of people do neglect warming up and cooling down.
Yep.
I know people who were brutally honest with me and said that they just don't do either. They just don't.
Wow.
They don't warm up. They don't cool down. They don't stretch. They don't do anything dynamic. They don't do any, static stretching post or anything.
Right.
And it was one of those moments they were like, I'll be honest with you, you're going to think I'm crazy. And, they told me that, There are people like us who love the sport, do all these races, and want to compete with themselves. And it's still neglecting flexibility, mobility. So, yeah, I think that's a great one. I think that's a great, take-home point, I guess. Last thing. If people wanted to find you and ask you some questions, how could they do that?
I'd say the easiest way is give me an email at Tyler A. Thomas 9 at yahoo.com or my phone number.
Okay. You don't have to give that. The email works. The email works. Most people who listen know me enough. If they really wanted it, they could text me and then I could ask
absolutely.
Something. But
and eventually I want to become a coach. Right now, obviously I've got the kids, I've got everybody, and I don't want to give somebody not enough attention if they were to hire me as a coach. But I do enjoy just mentoring and bouncing questions off because that's really what this sport is. I mean, if you look at the peak where all the racers are at their peak performance, it's in your 30s, it's in your 40s. I mean, it's the 18 through 20-year-olds, they might be faster, they might be quicker, but it does come with experience, and it's trial by error and just getting nuggets here and there like we were talking about earlier. It goes a long ways. Yeah.
Well, I think the fact that you like mentoring and having conversations with people is huge because you have a lot of, like you just said, a lot of great experience. And I hope that people, if you're listening, I appreciate you staying with us this whole time. I hope that people did listen to this whole thing because you had a great season. You battled and you still performed really well and you still showed up for your family and you still showed up for, your daughters and your grandmother. You had a heck of a year, and through all that madness, you raced really well, dude. So
I think I just came in yesterday. I think I got silver all-world athlete for the year. So that's a step in the right direction. We're moving forward.
That's awesome. Congrats on a good year, man, and thanks for sitting down for the conversation. We'll talk again soon, all right?
Awesome. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, you too. See you, Tyler. All right, hey, thanks for listening. That was a great speaker series episode that we just wrapped up with Tyler. Again, Tyler's been through it all this season, 2025. He's got a lot of huge goals in 2026. I couldn't be more excited that I was able to sit down with Tyler today. I hope that you see the value in these speaker series episodes because this being the third one, I feel like we've already put out so much great content, shared so much knowledge, shared experience, of course of my own, but also the speakers on the podcast. So stay tuned because I have a great lineup as we transition into 2026, and this is only going to continue to grow. I appreciate that you've listened this far into the episode. If you need Tyler's contact, I'll put the email in the show notes, of course, but reach out to me directly and He loves to mentor and have conversations, and I think that's exactly what this speaker series is supposed to bring out, and that's I'm glad that it is. So thank you for being here. If you'd like to reach out to me directly, hillpursuit@gmail.com. If you know me, just call or text. Most of you do anyways. Hillpursuit.com, the website. You can find any and everything related to coaching. Some other, anything related to social media there as well. If you do want to find us on social media, it's all just at Hill Pursuit. Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, all that stuff. Just go find us. Follow along, like, subscribe. We appreciate all of that. And again, stay tuned. Very next episode, we'll have some incentive, some cool opportunity for you to get involved with Hill Pursuit if you'd like to, as we transition into 2026. For now, have a very blessed day. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.